What if I told you that the most important thing you do for your brain today doesn't happen during the day, but quietly unfolds while you're asleep? And what if the secret to protecting your memory, sharpening your thoughts, and waking up feeling mentally clear was sitting in your kitchen right now? See, when you're over 60, every small habit matters. And one of the most overlooked moments of all is what you choose to eat or not eat before bed. Too often we hear about breakfast being the most important meal. But for seniors, it might actually be that last bite before sleep that makes all the difference. Not just for digestion, not just for energy, but for your brain. Because while your body rests, your brain does some of its most important work. It sorts, repairs, files memories, balances chemicals. But it can't do that well without the right support. And the good news? That support doesn't come from expensive pills or complicated routines. It starts with two simple, natural foods you can enjoy before bed. Foods that bring real nourishment, comfort, and restoration. That's what this video is about. And if you care about senior health, elderly wisdom, or just want to feel more like yourself again in the mornings, this could be exactly what you need. So if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to Elderly Reflections, and tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today? Are you in the UK, somewhere in America, maybe Canada or Ireland? I'd love to know. We're building a community that spans generations and continents, one evening habit at a time. Let me start with a story. Elaine, age 73, lives in the rolling hills outside York in northern England. She's a retired librarian, soft-spoken, always kept her mind sharp with books, puzzles, and long walks. But last year she started noticing something strange. Her memory was lagging, not in a dramatic way, but in subtle, frustrating slips. She'd walk into the kitchen and forget why. She'd misplace her keys, forget names, repeat the same question twice in a conversation. Her doctor waved it off as normal aging. But Elaine wasn't ready to surrender her sharpness. She believed in life lessons from the elderly. Not just accepting decline, but adapting, being proactive, using her years of experience to respond wisely. That's when she began looking at her evening routine and realized she often skipped dinner or grabbed whatever was eaten. She made one small change. She added almonds. Just a handful, about 7 or 8 each night, with a glass of warm water. It seemed too simple to make a difference. But within weeks, she felt the fog lifting. Her dreams were more vivid. She remembered appointments again. And best of all, she said her inner narrator, that sense of herself, felt clearer and more in control. The science backs her up. Almonds are rich in magnesium, a mineral many seniors are deficient in. And it plays a critical role in regulating sleep, stabilizing mood, and supporting memory pathways in the brain. Magnesium helps reduce nighttime restlessness, eases muscle tension, and supports the kind deep sleep where memory consolidation happens. And that's not all. Almonds are packed with vitamin E and riboflavin, both linked to reduced cognitive decline. In a 2014 study published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging, seniors who consumed higher levels of vitamin E showed a much slower rate of memory deterioration over time. Just a few almonds, something you can hold in the palm of your hand, carry that kind of power. But even beyond the nutrients, there's something beautiful about the ritual. Elaine now calls it her thinking snack. It's become her nightly gift to herself. She sits by her window, lights low, the sound of the wind in the hedges outside, and she says out loud, "This is for tomorrow's mind." That's elderly wisdom in action. Not fighting time, but walking with it, intentionally. Now let's shift to the second food in the traditional sense. It's a drink, something warm, gentle, and deeply healing. Chamomile tea. You've probably heard of it before, maybe even tried it once when you couldn't sleep. But what you may not realize is how powerful this simple herb can be for the senior brain. Chamomile contains a natural antioxidant called apigenin, which binds to specific receptors in your brain that help initiate sleep. But that's just the beginning. Apigenin also reduces inflammation, supports the hippocampus, the part of the brain that processes and stores memories, and helps lower anxiety. That's a big deal, especially after 60, when stress and cortisol levels can quietly sabotage sleep quality and cognitive clarity. Let me tell you about Carl, a retired engineer in Minnesota. He was always sharp with numbers, a master at solving problems, but after retirement, he found himself stuck in cycles of late-night worry. Bills, politics, old regrets, what-if scenarios. His daughter bought him a box of chamomile tea as a small joke, a gentle nudge, but Carl gave it a try. One night he brewed a cup, sat in his recliner, and let the warmth of the steam calm his hands. The next morning he said he felt rested in a way he hadn't in months. After 2 weeks, he called his daughter and said, "You know what? I don't just sleep better, I think better." There's research to support Carl's experience. A 2017 clinical trial in elderly patients showed that daily chamomile consumption improved sleep latency, reduced nighttime anxiety, and even helped regulate heart rate. Chamomile works with your body, not against it. It's not a sedative, it's a signal. A way of telling your nervous system, you're safe, you can let go now. And when your body feels safe, your brain gets to work, repairing, storing, cleaning out toxins. Drinking chamomile tea before bed is like sending your brain to the spa, giving it time and space to recover from the noise of the day. But again, it's not just about what's in the cup, it's how you hold it. Carl made it his nightly anchor. No phone, no television, just him, the tea, and sometimes a candle. He said it helped him reconnect with the quieter parts of himself. And that, more than anything, reminded him he was still whole. So tonight I invite you to do something simple. Choose almonds, choose chamomile. Don't reach for the cookie or the chip bag or that leftover piece of pie. Your brain doesn't need sugar spikes and empty calories. It needs calm, it needs focus. It needs you. A handful of almonds, a warm mug of chamomile. That's not just a snack, that's elderly reflection. That's dignity, that's an act of motivation, and that's the kind of care that keeps us sharp, even as the years go by. Before we wrap up this part, let me ask you again, where are you watching from tonight? Drop a comment. Let's share our stories across countries, across generations. And if this spoke to you, give it a like, hit subscribe, and turn on that bell icon so you never miss another story, tip, or piece of elderly wisdom that could change your evening, maybe even your life. Because this is Elderly Reflections, where we believe that your nights should be as meaningful as your days, and this is just the beginning. Let's continue, because if you're over 60, what you do in the final 2 hours before bedtime can shape the next 10 years of your life. That sounds dramatic, but it's backed by science. Your brain doesn't just shut off when you close your eyes. In fact, for seniors, that's when some of the most important work happens. Cleaning up toxins, organizing memories, restoring emotional balance. But it only happens well when the body is properly supported. Earlier, we looked at almonds and chamomile tea. Simple, natural tools for better sleep and clearer thinking. But there's more to uncover. There are still quiet secrets left in your kitchen, and tonight we're going to talk about 2 more. Research suggests, and before we dive in, if you're new here, this is Elderly Reflections, a channel built on senior health, life lessons from the elderly, and the kind of motivation that doesn't shout, but gently lifts. If that sounds like something you want more of in your life, take a second to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment below telling us where you're watching from. Whether it's Scotland or Ohio or a little town in Portugal, your voice belongs here. Let me tell you about Helen. She's 76, lives just outside of Lisbon, and spent most of her life working as a midwife. Sharp, compassionate, and tough as nails. But after retiring, Helen noticed something creeping in. Her sleep changed. She woke up feeling groggy, like her brain had been working all night without results. She started forgetting little things. Her neighbor's dog's name, the reason she walked into the garden shed, nothing alarming, but enough to make her feel like she was slipping. Then one evening, a friend came to visit and brought a gift. A small basket of blueberries. No big deal, right? But Helen remembered reading something years ago about brainberries and decided to do her own experiment. Every night for the next month, she had half a cup of blueberries. Sometimes fresh, sometimes frozen, mixed into a little plain yogurt. She didn't expect much, but by the 3rd week, something changed. Her dreams became clearer. Her morning routine felt easier. She was remembering names again. It was subtle but powerful. Like fog lifting over the sea, blueberries are packed with anthocyanins, a group of antioxidants proven to support brain function. In a study published in Nutritional Neuroscience, researchers found that older adults who consume blueberries daily showed measurable improvements in memory and executive function within 12 weeks. These compounds help reduce oxidative stress, increase blood flow to the brain, and protect the neural pathways we rely on to think, remember, and respond. That's why blueberries are considered one of the best foods for cognitive aging. And they're not heavy. They're light, digest easily, and don't spike blood sugar like many other fruits. If your body is a garden, blueberries are like soft rain, quiet, consistent, reviving everything underneath. But they're more than just nutrients. They're a signal to yourself that you're still investing in your future. A bowl of blueberries at night isn't just dessert, it's devotion. Elderly wisdom says it's not about doing everything, It's about doing the right, small things over and over again. Now let's talk about a food that doesn't grow in the ground, but supports your brain from deep within. It's a protein, a healing one, and it's best eaten slowly with intention just before rest. I'm talking about cottage cheese. And before you roll your eyes or think of it as old-fashioned, let me explain why it's quietly one of the most powerful brain foods for seniors. At night, cottage cheese is rich in casein protein, a slow-digesting protein that releases amino acids into your bloodstream steadily over several hours. That slow release is key, because while you sleep, your body isn't just shutting down, it's rebuilding. And your brain, it needs those amino acids to maintain neurotransmitter function, repair tissue, and even stabilize mood, especially as you age when natural production slows down. Let me introduce you to Frank, a retired postal worker from Chicago. He's 79 and still sharp as a tack, but a few years ago, Frank began having trouble staying asleep. He'd wake up at 2 a.m., restless, mind racing. He didn't want to rely on pills, so he turned to food. His daughter, a fitness trainer, suggested he try half a cup of cottage cheese before bed. Just that, nothing else. No toast, no sugar, just the cheese. It felt strange at first, but Frank trusted her, and after just a week, he noticed something wild. He wasn't waking up in the middle of the night anymore. He said his dreams felt richer, like stories with beginnings and endings. But even more than that, his moods improved. He wasn't snapping in the morning, he felt more grounded, more himself. Cottage cheese also contains tryptophan, an amino acid that helps the brain produce serotonin and melatonin, two critical chemicals for sleep regulation and emotional balance. Combine that with B12, calcium, and phosphorus, and you have a nighttime superfood that works from multiple angles. Not just for sleep, but for memory, resilience, and focus. It may not be trendy, but it works. And what's more, it's gentle, easy to chew, easy to digest, a comfort food that also comforts your future. Frank still eats it every night, sometimes plain, sometimes with a spoonful of flaxseed, or a few slices of banana. He calls it his brain pudding, and at nearly 80, he says he feels younger now than he did at 70. Not because of some miracle cure, but because of choices. Quiet, consistent, intentional choices. So here's what we've added to your evening table tonight. Blueberries and cottage cheese. One sweet, one savory, both simple, both powerful. When combined with almonds and chamomile tea we previously explored, that gives us 4 gentle tools to help protect your brain as you sleep. You don't need all of them at once. Start with one, add another next week. Build your own ritual, something that fits your rhythm, your taste, your body. Because this isn't about rules, it's about elder reflections. It's about treating your evening not as the end of your day, but as the beginning of your healing. Now, before we go any further, I'm curious, what's your go-to bedtime snack? Is it helping you or holding you back? And where are you watching from tonight? Share it below. Let's bring this wisdom together across oceans and languages and generations. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Because next, we're pulling everything together into one clear, easy-to-follow routine. The final 2 brain-healing foods. The bedtime traps to avoid, and the nighttime routine that can restore not just your memory. There's something sacred about the quiet that comes after sundown. The TV is off, the phone stops buzzing, and for a moment, there's nothing but your own breath and the stillness of the room. But here's what many people don't realize, especially after 60, that stillness isn't empty. It's when your body begins its most important work. While you sleep, your brain restores itself. And if you've followed this series so far, you already know 4 powerful ways to support that process. Almonds, chamomile tea, blueberries, and cottage cheese. All simple, all time-led. But tonight we finish the story. 2 more foods, 1 routine, and a few mistakes you'll want to avoid if your goal is to wake up sharp, steady, and truly rested. Let's start with an unexpected one. Something you probably wouldn't think of as brain food. Spinach. That's right, this humble green, usually served at lunch or dinner, may be one of the best things you can eat before bed. Why? Because spinach is packed with magnesium. And magnesium is the mineral your nervous system relies on to relax, regulate, and restore. Seniors often struggle with magnesium deficiency, which quietly causes problems like restless legs, shallow sleep, high blood pressure, and even anxiety. Spinach also contains nitrates, which help improve blood flow, especially to the brain, and folate, which supports mood and memory. Let me tell you about Margaret from Nova Scotia. She's 68 and had been waking up groggy for months. No matter how early she went to bed, she still felt like she'd been hit by a truck in the morning. Her doctor ran tests, ruled out major issues, and suggested maybe it was just aging. But Margaret wasn't ready to settle. Instead of sleeping pills, she started eating a small spinach salad an hour before bed. Just a handful of baby spinach with olive oil and a hard-boiled egg. Within 2 weeks, she said she felt like her mind had been cleared with a cloth. She woke up lighter, her dreams returned, and her afternoon brain fog slowly faded away. Now let's move to our final food. A dream, something warm, golden, and filled with history. It's called turmeric milk, or as many call it, golden milk. This isn't just a trendy wellness fad. It's rooted in Ayurvedic tradition, used for centuries to fight inflammation, calm the nerves, and support deep rest. The key ingredient is curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, which has been proven to reduce markers of brain aging, improve mood, and even help prevent memory loss. But it works best when consumed with fat and a pinch of black pepper, which helps your body absorb it. Let me share the story of Walter, 81, a retired teacher from Colorado. After his wife passed, his sleep fell apart. He'd sit up until 3 a.m., watching old movies, unable to quiet his thoughts. A friend gave him a simple recipe: warm milk, half a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of pepper, and a drop of honey. Walter started drinking it each night at the same time, 9:15 sharp, and something shifted. He didn't just sleep better. He said his mood felt more even, his joints stopped aching, and most surprisingly, he started remembering small things again. Old students' names, bits of poetry. That's the power of consistency. Elderly wisdom reminds us, the quietest routines often bring the loudest results. But there are also things to avoid. Even the best foods won't help if they're followed by common mistakes. One of the biggest, eating too much too late. Your brain can't rest if your stomach is still working overtime. Give yourself at least 90 minutes between your last bite and lights out. Another mistake, and here's a big one: alcohol. A glass of wine might make you drowsy, but studies show it disrupts REM sleep, raises your heart rate, and actually increases memory loss over time. You're not helping your brain, you're sedating it. That's a dangerous difference. And what about water? Yes, hydration is key, but overhydrating right before bed means one thing: nighttime trips to the bathroom. For many seniors, that also increases the risk of falls. So sip smart, a small glass with your snack is fine, but cut back after 8 p.m. Let your body rest uninterrupted. Now let's bring it all together. Imagine this: a small plate at night, a few blueberries, a scoop of cottage cheese, a tiny spinach salad with olive oil, or maybe a mug of chamomile tea, and a handful of almonds. Not all at once, just 2 or 3. Rotated throughout the week, chosen with care. You don't need a feast, you need a ritual. That ritual becomes a message to your brain. We're still healing, we're still trying, we still matter. Because senior health isn't just about medical visits. It's about the choices you make when no one's watching. The quiet dignity in saying, I'm still here, I still care. That's elderly reflection, that's elderly wisdom. That's the strength we pass down, not through words, but through habit. And here's the part that matters most: it's never too late. I received a message last week from Joan, age 6 in Dublin. She started this bedtime routine after watching one of our earlier videos. Blueberries, yogurt, a short walk before bed. She said she feels more alive now than she did 5 years ago. Not because she changed everything, but because she changed one thing, and then another. That's how it works. So tonight, ask yourself, what are you feeding your brain? What will you give yourself before you sleep? Are your habits making things harder or helping you heal? You don't have to overhaul your life. Just begin. A handful of spinach, a golden cup of milk. That's enough. That's more than enough. If this series has helped you, tell me in the comments, what's your favorite food from tonight's video? What are you going to try first? And most importantly, where are you watching from? Share your voice. Join the conversation, and please, take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you never miss a chance to care for your heart, your brain, and your story. Because here on Elderly Reflections, we believe your best days aren't behind you. They're still unfolding. And it's the little choices, made in quiet moments, that carry the biggest hope.